Blake Hooper here, blakehooper.com, and today with me I've got Justin Herald, author of How to Grow Your Business Without Spending a Single Cent, and also the founder of Attitude Clothing. Now, I read this book probably about 10 years ago when I really started out on my entrepreneur journey, starting my first business, which was a clothing label, and it was a great book. It's taught me a lot, and if you haven't read it, I'd suggest you have a read of that. But I'll introduce Justin here and allow him to go into a little bit about Attitude Clothing and where he's begun, and we'll get into it from there.
No dramas. So, how I started?
Yeah.
Look, the only reason I started my first business was just to upset someone who told me I had an attitude problem. So, I just thought I'd make a few t-shirts up with it, my attitude problem on the back of it, and wear it around. So I ended up making 4 t-shirts and sold those 3 shirts to 3 of my mates, and then upset the lady, which was pretty cool. But after that, people really liked it, which I was quite shocked with, because I sort of didn't plan it to be a business.
Yep. And
it sort of took off. It took a while to take off, but I had to sort of go to the markets and figure out how to do this business thing, which no one sort of, wasn't a plan of mine. But but worked out that I was pretty good at this business thing. So for me, it works out business is 1 + 1 = 2, so that I can do.
Perfect, no worries. And from your book here, you started Attitude Clothing with $50 in your pocket.
Yep.
And took it to the markets. What sort of challenges did you come up with as you sort of found that there might be some legs in this business?
To be honest, I didn't see anything as a challenge. What I did know is I didn't know anything. So I was sort of expecting there to be a whole heap of stuff that was going to come in across my path that I'd have to overcome. I think the problem today, and I started that before the internet, right? Yep. So the problem today is there's so much information in the marketplace, which is what I call white noise. Yep. A lot of information doesn't mean it's good. And so a lot of people are getting all of that information in their heads and researching it before they start, thinking it's fact. Yep. And then when they go and try something and something doesn't work the way that the internet or whoever said it's going to work, it must mean they're doing it wrong.
Yep.
Probably not. They're comparing an apple against a pear. So for me, I knew that I was going to come across, stumble across issues from day one. That for me made sense. So I was prepared for that and ready to overcome anything that came my way.
Okay. And did you have someone that was sort of mentoring you, coaching you here, or it was all just test, find yourself?
Oh no, all up until probably the 5th year in, I was doing it all myself. And then I come across a guy that was the CEO of a large company that I ended up doing business with. That his name was Harry, and then I ended up ringing him one day and said, "Look, I've got no clue." And he said, "We actually do, but you're just doing it in your way." Yeah. And then he mentored me for another 4 or 5 years after that. But at the start, like the mentoring or the coaching thing was not a big thing back in those days. So, and I didn't have anyone around me, besides my brother who started around the same time, or before me. Besides that, there was no one else that I could tap into.
Okay. And myself starting off as an entrepreneur was when I was about 6 years old. My granddad selling caps and flags. Then I've had lemonade stands, paper runs, picking up cans and loading them in for cash. So millions and millions of sort of opportunities, and that's probably where my journey started as an entrepreneur, not really recognising it. Where do you think you sort of found your entrepreneurial streak there?
Yeah, it would have been probably back in when I was about 10 or 11, I guess. What I did realise which I always thought was a problem, or so did everyone else, the whole schooling thing. Like I just never could fit within that criteria, more so from the information that I was getting. Like I've never come across an X and a Y yet in my life, so I couldn't understand what algebra. But when I started business, a lot of this stuff made, not algebra, but a lot of this other stuff made sense.
Okay. Yep.
So I think for me, business was the hole that I was searching to fall into.
Okay.
And I did it by default. And I think the problem these days with a lot of people is they're thinking too much.
Yeah.
So should I start a business? Shouldn't I start a business? Will it be any good at a business? Like, who knows? Just give it a crack.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think these days it's about testing.
Yeah.
In your book here, you obviously mention how to grow a business without spending a single cent, and I think that's very relevant.
Yep.
In my first t-shirt business, even though I probably got this book a little bit late, I spent about $70,000 there and found out it didn't work for me.
Yep.
So essentially, in this new day and age, do you think it's still relevant to market that way?
All of my businesses still to this day I've started with no money. So I'll tell you why. If you can try this way, it's the best way, right? If you try and start a business with little capital, a few things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to try and search outside that square to make it happen.
Yep.
Desire is one of those things everyone thinks they've got, but until they actually get tested on it, they don't really. So if you're that driven and internally driven that you're going to make it work, you'll make it work. If you take the financial aspect out of it, so if I start a business with little or no money and it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. If I start a business with $70,000 and it doesn't work, it freaking matters, right? So, and what people do when they put a lot of money or money into it that they can't really afford to do or shouldn't do, the whole focus is financial, which is a really bad way to run a business at the start, because you're watching all the dollars, which you've got to do in business, but you're watching all of that, but you're not seeing the opportunities that are on the side because you don't want to lose the money. So for me, the reason that book came out and the reason I've done business the same way, because my first way by default worked. So why go and change that?
Of course, and for me it was credit card bills ramping out of control, things like that, to the point that today I don't even have a credit card. I won't use one because it doesn't even feel like you're spending real money.
Yeah, understood.
So I think you really got to start those low cost businesses that are a lot of the time service based is a great area because you don't have to bring in inventory, things like that. What are you seeing as the new trend or the best place to start low cost businesses?
Look, you can start it in anything. I think if you just look at, even if it's something that's traditional, just try and find an angle that's a little bit different. It could be a price angle, it could be a design angle, it could be a service angle, it could be something that's just, could be traditional, but there's a slant to it. Look, I think there's room for anyone to start any type of business. But the reality is, if success was easy, everyone would be successful. So the fact is, it's not easy, but I actually don't think it's that hard either.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it comes down to finding those places to market yourself and testing those areas. So there is so many free places to market these days. I know that you're big on media outlets and things like that, getting them to tell your story or telling your story to them and allowing that free marketing to roll out.
Start it on eBay. Like, if you've got a product, put it on eBay. Do people like it and people are buying it? If the answer is no, well, good shot and not going any further. Get your friends to buy it. Put it on social media, put it on Facebook. When I launched my sunglass brand, all I did was got samples made up, put the sample shots up on Facebook and said, hey, you guys like my new brand, would you be interested in buying? I got so much response. I said, well, the first 300 people that put a deposit down get the first 300. That funded me to go and manufacture the product. So there's ways around doing it. I think what we've got to start doing, especially if you're in startup or want to start up a business, you start looking outside that square. You won't find the answers inside your comfort zone, because if they were there, you'd already be there by now. So it's outside your comfort zone.
So the advice isn't quit your job today, go out and start this business?
No. Look, I worked 2 part-time jobs for the first 2 years of Attitude. And Attitude turned over pretty good money in those first 2 years. But I had to make sure I had good, solid foundation. So don't quit your job. You're not going to make $1 million in the first year, just from a great idea. And if you do, well done. And if you have, good on you. But it's one of those things that's going to take time. And if you've never done it before, there's a whole heap of shit that you're going to start to figure out or get thrown in front of you, and you've got to be prepared for. So get ready for stress, but I love stress. So
you sort of got to love it as an entrepreneur. If you're not, then they might find you hanging somewhere or something like that. So
look, I love it, but if you realise right from the start that it's going to be uncomfortable, then embrace that.
You got to get out of your comfort zone. The first time you pick up a camera and make a video to market yourself or something like that, it's not going to be easy, but as you subsequently do that, it becomes a lot easier.
And I think also a lot of people don't really realise what they're good at. I had no clue that I'd be good at this business thing. And if you read or spoke to any of the people I went to school with, or also teachers, they'd tell you that I'd never be able to succeed in anything in life, really. And but it wasn't until I was in that situation that I actually realised that there was a level of comfort in that uncomfortableness. that I just really embraced and I loved. So bring on business.
Exactly, same story for me. Yeah, if school teachers never thought I'd amount to anything, but then I've gone and proved it wrong with successful businesses.
My English teacher told me that I'd amount to nothing.
Yeah.
So every time one of my new books comes out, I always send him a copy just to remind him. But that's just me.
And I will ask as well, where would people get a copy of your book if they do want to read it?
Look, that's a long time now. I think...
or any of your new books?
Yeah, we'll probably go to justinherald.com. A lot of them have sold out now, but whatever's available will be on there.
There's some information products, things like that available on there as well.
There's a lot, like the books are one thing, and then I've done a whole lot of CDs and stuff like that, which a lot of people are more audio than they are reading. Me. Yeah. I write books, I don't read them. But so there's a lot of information on there.
Perfect. And what's your take on, I think everything's changed with social media and everything like that. What's your take in the last 5-10 years? What are you thinking there?
Look, okay, I'm going to sound like an old man. I think whilst the social media thing's great, I mean, I'm a very big fan of it and I utilise it a lot. There are no shortcuts to success. And so I think there's a lot of people thinking they've got a great product, great business, chuck it up on Facebook, tell people about it, and all of a sudden their offices or their warehouses are full of orders. If it was that easy, we'd all be retiring. I do believe that there needs to be, and especially this is for now there's a new word, millennials, more so for them that study the old school way. I had a client, because I do mentoring, as I told you, but I had a client the other day, younger client, going, I've launching a brand, I've got no time. Okay, no time. And I had to sit down and say, look, if I was going to try and get my brand into a country regional town, I'd have to drive out there. This is before the internet. I have to go to the local post office, go to the yellow pages, go to all the different places that actually stocked clothing in that thing, write them all down on a piece of paper, go and physically go to those shops, come back, pack the box, do all that, and still grow my business. Now, what you can do now with no time is Google, and we're done. So I think there's a lot of benefit of researching old school way of doing business. Because to be honest, and I do sound like an old man, and I know people will disagree with me here, the old school way of doing things, I think was the better way of doing things. So that gives me a great foundation to utilise these new tools, which is called social media or whatever. That's not my foundation.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about replicating some of the old school methods into the new social world, into these automated processes that we can use computers and the internet for. But the fundamentals haven't changed. Like the 4 seasons of every year, they come. Every year, you're going to get those 4 seasons. And that's been happening since the start of time. We were sharing information with the Bible and things like that far ago. And we're doing the same thing now. We're just doing it in a different way, and we're doing it online.
Look, I had a guy sit with me the other day with his idea, and he says, "I'm going to set up a website. I'm going to have a funnel, and I'm going to." Well, good on you. But is there any foundation to this whole thing? You can get a lot of people going to your website, awesome. But whoop-de-doo. And you can have. I had this argument with someone the other day. You can have 1 million followers on Instagram. That popularity contest doesn't make you money. Doesn't give you a great business. And so I think what we've got to do, and I still study old school business theories and stuff like that, because before the internet, business was around for a long time. So, and it's been around longer than the internet.
Of course.
So what we've got to start doing is understanding how that happened. Because if you look now, how many businesses are around for years and years and years? It's the same when you look at any recording artist, right? They're here today, gone tomorrow, but you've got my favourite band, the AC/DCs of the world, that have been here for a long time. So what have they been doing? So it's the same thing in business. What a big business, or what a business that have been around for a long time, what do they do? And I think we've got to start to research some of that stuff to realise there could be some gold in that, as opposed to just trying to find the latest course that I can do to make me $1 million in 3 days. It's just not going to happen that way.
And how do you wade through that? Because there is obviously some good courses out there. There's some good information. But I think what I see is people doing course after course after course after course, and they're almost looking for that golden bullet. They think that they're going to get something new and maybe think that someone's going to do it for them.
Rainbow chasers.
Yeah.
Right. So they see a rainbow and they start chasing the thing. Look, this is a very favourite subject of mine, and I could go on forever and a day.
Yeah.
I think what people need to do is a bit of a litmus test when they are looking for outside influence or advice, courses, whatever. First of all, research the person or the company, whatever, that is putting that on or selling it.
Of course, yeah.
I've got to be good here.
Yeah.
What success did they have before selling that course?
Yeah.
So what's real success? Like turning over $1 million, they can tell you that
Yeah.
in a year. But if that's turning over $1 million selling a course, I wouldn't go. I'd see, like, if you want to grow a business, go find someone that's actually grown a business.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of spending thousands and thousands of dollars to learn on how to do something. I think going to your gut and learning from your own mistakes, it's free, costs a bit personally, but it's free to do that. So I would be going down that path. But it's the go with your gut test.
Yeah,
like if it
definitely.
sounds too good to be true, probably is. And my favourite 4-letter word has always been next.
Yeah.
So I'll look at something and go, next. I think
Exactly.
move on. But don't think that there's one person out there that has the secrets to your success, because it's not the case. It's never going to be the case. They might have a certain part of to be able to help you with, but not the whole thing. I've got different mentors in my life for different aspects of my business as well. So.
Yeah, so you feel that a specialist can help you more in a certain area. So
Absolutely.
when you are looking to solve a problem, that rather than going to the GP, you want to be looking for a specialist.
Yeah, absolutely.
And have that sort of few-pronged approach to find where you need that information from.
Yeah, well, and this is an actual example, but I went to a doctor the other day and I've got a problem with my shoulder. And I sat there and he started Googling. I go, well, I can do that. And this is using the analogy, this is the same thing that happens when people go to a course or an expert and expect them to have it, but you'll find that a lot of the time they don't have the answers, so they're just trying to find the answers to give you the answers. So personally, I'll only go for people who've actually gone down the path that I'm trying to go down.
Exactly. So learn from people that have got a proven track record.
Yeah. You're learning from their mistakes then, so not mistakes that you're going to make based upon their advice that's never been proven, or trodden on. But then you become a guinea pig if that's the case.
Yeah, definitely. So look, the area that I've been sort of focusing in is still that offline area. I think that once you get into those high ticket sales where you are charging a little bit more for your transactions, you do have to, it's great to pull people from that online world, but you still have to put in the hard yards. I still door knock out there into businesses the same as you were with Attitude Clothing. Do you still think that's as prominent as ever?
Yeah, I'll use my mentoring programs as a good example. Like, so you can find information about it online.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to make a decision based upon what they see on. I want to be talking to them. I want that whole conversation, because what it does, it's the old-fashioned pre-qualification.
Yeah.
As someone selling something, you want to pre-qualify the person that you're actually selling to, because you might be wasting your time, right?
Yeah.
So yes, you can get with your funnel a whole heap of people coming to you, but if you've got to then wade through that, and it's going to take up a lot of time. So I'd rather have that old school conversation with someone and get them to come to me or me go to them. I'm getting old, mate. I drink water and now I get indigestion. So I think that's a better way to do it, especially in high ticket stuff, because the one thing we've all got, the only thing actually that we've all got in common is 24 hours in a day.
Exactly.
How you spend that, like for me, I don't waste time at all. I don't work 24 hours a day either, but I'm not going to waste any time. So that being the case, I want to make sure there's good quality people that I'm going to spend my time with, and I can pre-qualify that in a conversation quicker than I can on filling out a form online.
Exactly. I can attribute being an entrepreneur to having a lot of extra time and things that you can do. You don't have that boss sitting at the top of you saying you got to be at work from 8 till 4, and I feel that gives me a lot of free time and things to do what I want and enjoy my life. You've been doing it a lot longer. You've had a lot more time, and obviously, I think, how much did you sell Attitude Clothing for, roughly?
Never told anyone.
You never told anyone, but a lot of money. So you've obviously had that backing behind you. How do you spend your days as an entrepreneur? What are you doing, man?
Right, that's pretty simple. I don't start work until after 9, because I take my daughters to school. I don't work after 3 o'clock, unless it's a mentoring phone call, but because I pick my daughters up from school.
Okay.
So for me, it's the quality of life that I've been working for all this time.
Okay.
I find it bizarre when people say, I'm working so hard for my family, but they never see their family.
Yeah.
I get it's tough, and I get it. You've got to put a lot of time in. I get all of that, But I've also made sure that I've shaped my business around the results that I wanted early on with Attitude. But look, my time, it doesn't feel like I'm working that hard.
Exactly.
And because I really enjoy what I'm doing. So I like today, what's the time now? 12:30. I've already done 4 mentoring calls, and I've done a couple of other business stuff in between that. I've got another couple when I finish after this, then I'm done. It's motorbike riding time probably. So and then the weekend I've got to speak on the weekend, but just chill. I've got 5 daughters and a new wife, so that's
keeps you busy.
That's my priority at this point in time. There's no point me working my rear end off if the people around me don't like me. So my priority is to make sure that my family life is 100% how I would have ever dreamed it to be.
And still get time to ride a motorbike every now and then.
It's got to do that.
Perfect. When you're doing these mentoring calls, what's the most common issues you're finding that's sort of out there with?
Look, they're not. That's why I love doing it. They're not all the same, but a lot of people just get to that point where they don't know what the next step is, or what they've been doing is. It's the same. I'll use the analogy. We're sitting here. We can look out this window, which you guys can't see there, and what we see is what we see, right? Yeah. And that's what most people are like in business. Where I come in is I'm standing up. So what I'm seeing is a totally different view to what you're seeing. Yeah, so it's not. I had a client yesterday who just started with me. Own 8 businesses they do as a family thing up in the country, and I said, why wouldn't you do this or this? And they went, I never even thought of that. Now to me, that was just common sense, right? Yep. And because they're involved in the business, and that's why I have mentors still to this day in my business, and I've been now going for 24 years, 24 years, so I sort of know what I'm doing, but I need fresh eyes all the time to go, well, what about this? And sometimes I go, oh crap, didn't even see that one. That's where my role is. A mentor and a coach are totally different as far as I'm concerned. A coach is someone that's learnt it, mentor someone that's done it. So I'm not going to come in and say, do this, this and this. I'm going to say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? So I'm going to mentor you and mentor my clients in becoming better business people, but starting to see the things that I see and how and why do I see them, and teach them that sort of stuff. Because there's opportunities everywhere. And in business, what we're doing is we've got our blinkers on and we're going, this is what I want to achieve. And it's not until you go, well, what about that? You go, oh, wow. And for me, I call it the bright, shiny thing. Because there's always a bright, shiny thing somewhere. And most people go, it's distraction. Well, I go, well, what happens if that's gold? Like, that could be gold. So my business has to run in a certain way that enables me to go off on a tangent, but not lose focus and lose momentum.
Okay, perfect. And I know you mentioned to me earlier you've got a bit of a team there. So do you feel that areas that you're not strongest in, that it's a viable option to have a contractor or have someone do that for you?
Oh, absolutely. I employ smarter people than myself. And that's probably the biggest key that any entrepreneur should be doing. I'm still in control. I'm still in charge. I use their knowledge and my skill in controlling that. But yeah, look, the one thing I've figured out pretty quick is ego and being the boss and having everyone know that you're the guy doesn't actually make you money. So it's about letting that go and being comfortable in not knowing everything. But essentially, and it's a conversation I have in my business with staff, is I'm the only one in my business on commission. They're all getting paid. I'm the one that gets paid whenever everyone else gets paid. So that being the case, work harder. And that being the case, I need to make sure I manage their skill and appreciate their skill a lot more than you're my employee.
Of course, and I think it's about having, you're big on customer service, but it's about having that customer service as the boss still within your business, because really they're your customers as are customers that are coming in and buying your product. Just going back to the book for a moment again, I know customer service has always been your big driver and it's a passionate topic of yours. What sort of information would you give people around that?
Look, I think the good thing at the moment is for business, which is a bad thing for consumers, but the good thing for business is customer service really isn't around at all. Why is that good? It's good because for you to compete against your competitor, pretty easy these days. Just look after your customer, because the secret to business success is pretty simple. Make sure you don't suck as much as your competitor. It's pretty simple. And that's going to be quite easy to do by looking after your customer right now. And that's where a lot of customers, even you, like if you think back, when's the last time you went into anywhere, whether it's service related or product related, that you were engaged and you were entertained while you were actually shopping. We don't get it anymore. And so we've got to put that in, and that's why I started a business called Customer Culture, which is all about going into corporations and businesses and small as well, training staff in customer service, because they don't get trained anymore.
Yeah.
What happens is, as business owners, we interview someone for employment, we look at their resume, and it says, I'm unreal at customer service. You go, awesome,
You're hired.
Off you go. As if anyone's going to say, I suck at customer service, right? So we believe them. What we should be doing, and I still do this, like staff training is the number one thing that we should be putting in our business. The number one thing we should be spending money on in our business, not social media advertising. You can advertise to get more people into your business, but if your staff then treat them like crap, well, that's wasted money, right? So staff training, there's not that we don't do that anymore. Or if there is, it's online. Oh, that's a stupid thing to do, online customer service. So that's where, for me, it's a big thing, and it's one thing that we've always done in my businesses that we're unreal at, is customer service. Because there's one thing, and people never believe me until they try it, but please don't try it for no reason. If anyone rings my office, I'm the only one that answers the phone. Always have been. My theory is, why put someone in to be a gatekeeper? Because people want to talk to me anyway, so I'll just remove that. And that's enough for people to go to other people, guess what? I rung this guy and he answers his own phone. Well, it saves me 60 grand for getting someone else to do it. So, but I enjoy all that customer forward-facing stuff. So
perfect, and I think it's more relevant than ever, because we do get that terrible customer service, and it's just really hard to find. So when you do have it, you stand out like a diamond in the rough, and it's
pretty easy.
Yeah. If just to sort of wrap it up a little bit, what if you had to start again at your age, 2017, $50 in your pocket? To do it all again, where would you be looking? What would you do? Would there be anything you'd do different?
I'd do nothing different. There's more things around now, resources I guess I could tap into. But, like, I don't know, I might be getting old, but everyone, internet or the online. I might be stupid, but there's more people online than ever. So you've just now put yourself into this entire mosh pit of competition, regardless of product. What people don't realise, if you've only got an online business or that's your focus, is you're not competing against product online, you're actually competing against time. So if I go and I'm looking for a sales guru to come into my business, I go online, and if all the Facebook pixels and all the Google pixels have picked up everything I've done in the past, and I come on, and I've been looking at Harley Davidson's 3 weeks ago, and up pops on the side Harley Davidson ad. Ooh, I'm over here now. So you might have all your campaign all for online. It's my time that you're trying to get, not my attention. Right. So, and that's where there's got to be some stuff, and that's why for me I like the old school. So I'd still do it the old way. The problem with them, there'll be people who have got products in retail or trying to get products in retail, and you'll understand what I'm about to say. The retailer today is not as smart as the retailer as when I started. That's the difference. So would I start another clothing brand right now? Probably not.
A lot of competition too, I think.
Well, there's a lot of, I don't want to sound baddy, but there's a lot of stupid people that own retail businesses. With my sunglass brand, I got rid of that in the end and sold it purely based upon the fact that I'd go into places and they'd say, oh, look, we love it, but we'll wait till the shop down the road gets it. And you go, what? You want your competition to get it before you get it? And I can't speak stupid. I've tried it, can't understand the language. And in the end, it's just like, oh, this is just all too hard. So that's where it is. It's a struggle now. The one thing I will say, overseas markets are a lot easier to infiltrate than here in Australia. There's a lot of apathy going on at the moment within business owners who you're selling to. So anyone that's doing business to business would understand what I was saying there. There's a lot of people that just, it's all too hard for them to do anything, or I don't know if I want to buy your product. Too hard. And I'm a trainee old man. So I'm getting to that point of just going, seriously, do I need all of this? But and that's why I love the whole more speaking at conferences and the mentoring, because it's working with either people who want the information or and business owners that want to take their business to the next level. So they're hungry.
And you're getting the gratification of seeing someone else succeed,
absolutely, yeah.
based on your information
Yeah.
and the way that you're helping them, mentoring.
It's a journey, yeah, and every time we talk is different. And for me, I'm not a forward planning person. So even like I had a new client start this morning, they said, okay, so what's our structure?
Yeah.
I said, well, our structure is there's no structure. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
We talk about what you want to talk about, and that's where I love that sort of thing. And for me, that's how my business model is. I've never done profit and losses and forecasts and budgets and overdraft. I've never done any of that. I've just gone, how do I make more than I did yesterday? Let's give that a crack and formulate my business around that. And I'm hoping people see and take some sort of comfort in that. Because if you don't know what you're doing, there's nothing wrong with that.
So you've got to learn somewhere. You've got to start somewhere.
Well, I'm teaching my 16-year-old daughter at the moment to drive.
Okay.
Not fun. Especially in my car. So I had to go and get my car reinsured to have her drive it, so I'm panicking every 5 seconds. But the fact is she doesn't know what she's doing. So it's the same if you're in startup. Like, please understand you're not going to know what you're doing, and that's okay. Your job is to try and figure it out. What are the shortcuts? What are the little tips that I can do? And how do I put my foot on the brake when I'm doing a hill start? All that sort of stuff.
That we take for granted now.
That we take for granted. So, and that's where, like, anyone that comes along and says you should be further along in your startup that have never done it before, that's bad advice. So don't listen to them. Just run your own course and take your own time.
Yeah, and I think we've got to do it in bite-sized pieces. It's $300 a day for a year, and you're earning a six-figure income. So when we break it back to that, $300 a day doesn't seem like a lot. Yeah. You'd spend that on a dinner. So it's about...
Well, it's not a race. If you make your business turn over the most... And I've been in the BRW whatever list. It makes great reading on the toilet, but that's about it. Like, it doesn't actually produce anything. So whoever makes the most amount of money the fastest, that's about as much as you're going to get. Like, it doesn't open any more doors. So just take your time. If you want to do it fast and it goes fast, that's fantastic. If it takes a bit longer than you anticipated, suck it up, sister, and just keep on going. That's the one thing that I think people are putting too much pressure on, especially startups these days, because they're comparing themselves with other people, which is the dumbest thing to do, because you don't know what they've actually had to go through to get there, or what they might have put in $100,000 to get themselves to that head start. So,
and what I find out there, and I've done a lot of courses. I'm sure you've done a lot and had a lot of mentors, but a lot of people won't tell you their secrets. So it's about almost trying to push you off on a different path and hoping that you don't actually find out what they're doing. The best way sometimes I find to unravel what someone else is doing or to find their success is to try and unravel what they're doing and how they're marketing and how they're getting you on board, because that sometimes is the biggest bit of gold that's there, and it's for free. Or sometimes you might have to sign up or pay for something. Or
look, for me, I've always paid for my mentors for no other reason that if I'm paying for it, there's value that I have to get out of it. I get a few people every now and again saying I should give my stuff away for free. I've tried that. And no one does anything with it. So, because there's no pain.
There's no skin in the game.
No, so look, I still pay, and I am a very big believer on doing that, and it's not a plug for my own stuff, but I just think you need to actually, there's got to be pain. So whether it's a time pain or a financial pain, there's got to be pain, so it makes you do it. Because I'll give you an example. When I speak, I sell a USB key now. I used to put all my CDs in this big pack and all that sort of stuff. So I put it all on USB now, so it's 18 hours on the USB. So I sell that, but what I also do is give a free hour away of my mentoring time, because I want to make people accountable to the purchase, right? It's not expensive, the thing in the first place. People buy it for the free hour. 87% of people never ring up. So the thing that they valued, the free thing, was the thing that they never actually take advantage of. So it's quite, and the ones that do ring up are the ones that actually go further. So whether it's free, whatever, but just value whatever information people give you. And I do. Like, I like old business guys. I really like talking to old business guys. So I'd be sitting there hanging off every word.
You can learn a lot from them.
Absolutely,
They've been there, done that. And again, as we're saying, even though we've got so much online now, there is still that big requirement to just follow the old school way. And that's what works. Some of the stuff on the internet is a lot of fluff as well. Whereas getting out there, getting face to face, talking to people, knocking on doors, finding out who's running, who's making the purchasing decisions is where you really got to go.
Well, I saw a thing the other day on Facebook, the three-step way to guarantee success in business, in any business. And I thought, well, why are you selling that? Why aren't you starting all these new businesses all the time? You make more money out of that instead of selling it. But there is no such thing. It's not going to happen, because the one thing that's different is everything. So if if I've got this theory or model, and I come across you and you go, I don't fit inside that. Well, how does that now affect this? Not going to work. So I don't know. I just think people need to get back to common sense, really, which is not common anymore. But
fair enough. Now, Justin, if anyone wanted to find you, wanted to hook up with a mentoring session, maybe get one of those USBs, where would be the best place to find you?
Look, just go to justinherald.com. That's HERALD.com, and just contact me through there.
Contact you through there. Get anything you need.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. I think there's been some valuable lessons that everyone's learning here, especially go back to the old school, things like that. So I'll wrap it up there, and thanks for watching.
Thank you.